Welcome to the On Stage podcast, where we interview musicians and members of the entertainment community. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are speaking tonight with Kimberly Ward, who's a singer-songwriter, and she's a Nashville recording artist from New Bern, North Carolina. We really appreciate you being with us today. I also see that you're a gospel recording artist too, and you actually sang at Otterray Baptist Church. So you're looking at another brother in the Lord here.
That's right. This will be the third time I'm going back to this church for music. Excited. I know a lot of people in that church there.
Awesome. Can you give us a little bit of a little life story of who is Kimberly Ward and what made you the person you are now?
Okay. Well, as a child, I grew up in the country, loving music, riding my bicycle, doing things that children like to do. My parents had 2 acres of land back then. They just sold it this summer, but they had that house and land for about 25 years or so, 28 years. And that home, the home I consider home, is Lucama. That is a Wilson County. And I'm going to spell Lucama. No one's heard of it. It's like 7,000 people. It's Lucama. So that's where I called home, where I grew up. Because I lived there like 21 years of my life. And I've been in New Bern almost 12 years. But I've actually lived in 3 states, so 2 other states in between that time. But anyway, besides where I've lived and all my interests, of course, are music and God and writing, of course, singing, talking. I'm also a speaker. I'd like to do more of that in the next year or two. So in the music, I've also spoken in a couple churches. And let's see, what else? In theaters. I went to college when I was 19. Didn't finish till I was a little bit older. I changed majors 3 times because I have so many interests. But my degree's in business, my minor's in music.
So what is your
piano? Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, continue on.
Oh, I was just going to say at some point I also taught piano for about 6.5 years. Been playing over 25 years, and I might learn some other instruments. My son's taking drum lessons now. I'm starting to take an interest in drums now too. He's 10 years old. And I really love other instruments. The xylophone is interesting to me, the cymbals, the shakers. I mean, anything with percussion right now. But yeah, the only one I actually play is the piano and keyboard, of course.
But if your son's 10 years old, he should follow Mike Drummer because he's a 10-year-old drummer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, my son and I could just take lessons together. His teacher likes me. His teacher would like to do some music with me. He's been teaching over 30 years. He's heard some of my songs on YouTube. So I guess he was impressed with the music. And I'm like, well, that's good because I need someone to help play drums with me. And we just met him about a month ago.
Excited. You think the drums is going to be easy for you to pick up pretty quickly, or is it slow?
I think so because the timing, and I'm already a hands-on person, so I can see me now doing the counting. I already count anyway. I'm really good. As you know, that's really important with music and the timing. I don't think it's going to be that hard to play drums. I've actually sat in with 4 or 5 of his lessons anyway for about half of the time. I try to leave to go to the piano room down the hallway, and the teacher's like, oh, no, we want you to come back in here. I guess I'm getting recruited to learn and play. And then my daughter, she's doing dance. So I guess we're going to have some family things going on here. I'm excited.
So you like to sing the big hymns, or do you write your own? Like, for instance, is Christmas in Bern. Is that a Christian tune, or is it because you were actually experienced a Christmas in Bern and you wrote a song about it?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say something about the hymns. I got to write all these questions down if I can remember here. The hymns, I play that on the piano quite a bit. I had at least 3 or 4 teachers who are really good with Christian music and hymns and gospel and classical. especially the one in college because she has a doctorate degree. She was a really good teacher. Anyway, so I moving this along. I love to sing hymns and play them on the piano. I played some today for my aunt where she's living at. There's a piano there, and a few of the people there came to join me. That was really exciting. I mean, like, it is well with my soul. I can name a lot I like to sing and play. Christmas and Burn is the Christmas song. Excuse me. And so that's not a hymn. I just specifically did that for his historic sound. There we go. Because New Bern is about 320 years old, the city where I've been living. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of bed and breakfast and just like Civil War sites, I guess you could say. And I wrote it to be a fun Christmas song and some history in there. Matter of fact, I'm singing that live in December, a few places. I'm excited.
I bet you are. I bet you can't wait, just waiting to be able to sing again like that, especially at Christmas time. I noticed that you won a World Songwriting Award for Letting Go. Can you give me a idea of your songwriting process and how Letting Go came to be?
Oh, I love that question. But the sad thing is, it came from some hard times in my life. So if I could be real with everyone who wants to hear this podcast, I was going through some really hard times in, I'd say, years 2016 to 2020, and not just because of the pandemic, other personal thing. Letting Go was written right before my parents' house fire, so I actually had to delay that project. And I wrote it for spiritual reasons as well as, I say, spiritual reasons and emotional reasons. Where people actually might have a hard time letting go of something in their life. Could be a person or an event. I talked about letting go of my pain as how God's healing me. And I meant emotional pain, of course. So I've got other projects I can't say yet. It's exciting. I'm going to hopefully announce around Christmas or New Year's. That has to do with letting go of my past, some other things I'm working on. I would say it's a song of healing. And what else? It's a Christian melody, faith-based song with let's say it's a piano melody. Because some of mine are
So there's
guitar melody.
yeah. So I take it Just Want to Be Free is another song that was written in pain.
I would say 50% of mine have been written from, well, maybe 60% from hard times. So, but Just Want to Be Free, that concept is about freedom and just wanting to be free from things that bind you. I say bind because some people aren't really thinking about, oh, this is holding me back, or like a stronghold. But I'm going to use the word stronghold as a biblical term, but also things that could become habits, excuse me, habits or patterns, and they become like a stronghold. And all that to say, basically being free. I was talking about, I want to be free from this place, from disgrace. I remember it very well. I won't say where. That's real personal, but it was written about a specific place where people knew me, and I guess you could say they knew some hardships I was going through, weren't always very understanding. So
Yeah. Basically a lot of songs, even if it's non-Christian songs, are written out of experiences. Um, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, but do you feel that the love of God and Christ was there for you when you were writing these songs?
oh, I love that question. I certainly do. He's been with me, and I got some spiritual concepts to apply to that, but he's been with me all the time. Of course, there's some hymn about that, but he says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. I already know he's with me. So I don't mind going and saying this because my story's starting to get out more. I'm actually on another, well, I won't say which podcast yet. It just started like a month ago, but specifically about trauma, because some of the things I went through was very hard things, like foreclosures one, but I mean like real intense thing, enough to cause anxiety. And I'm going to go like breathing, which I'm doing fine now. I'm just saying, I know all about anxiety. I experienced it. And I'm so grateful for songs, and God just accepted me, and the Holy Spirit just accepted me who I am. You know, we all can just accept the love of God in our life and feel free.
Yeah, so congratulations on that songwriting award for Letting Go. And you also have a World Songwriting Award for Best Alternative Song, Every Moment. Now,
Okay.
if every moment is written out of an experience you had, I can't wait to hear. Hopefully, that's a happy one because every moment sounds like a happy song.
Every moment is actually, I would say, even more extreme than Just Want to Be Free. So, and that's another one that I'm going to say. Now, I'm going to tell you, every moment was written out when I was actually in depression. Very hard things were happening. That was that was probably that was probably even worse than when I wrote Just Want to Be Free. These songs we're talking about were all written between the years of 2016 to 2020. But actually, every moment was already in a studio and on the radio by 2019. But I'm just giving you a time frame. Those 4 years, a lot happened.
Do you feel that God has given you the lyrics for these songs, especially Letting Go?
Oh, yes, I do, because I really seek the Lord about what I'm writing. And I mean, I just feel music in my soul.
Do you feel that if you had nothing like trials or tribulations that went on in your life,
Mm.
that you wouldn't even be able to write anything because there would be nothing there? You know what I mean? Like letting go, for
Oh, I
instance,
see.
you said that letting go is written through pain and suffering. If you didn't go through that
Mm.
between 2016, 2020, would you be able to write letting go?
Probably not, because I don't. In my early 20s and my 20s in my life, I was having a good time. Matter of fact, I loved college. Didn't have children then, and I wasn't married till a little bit later. Everything was fine and great, and I loved school and I loved working. I had a lot of things happen with. Well, some were people, some were churches, some were personal things, some were jobs. Um, I have found this out in the workplace, and really, it could be church or anywhere. There's a lot of personalities, and not everyone can take me. I can be pretty outspoken. I'm trying to be better now since I'm on the air more with TV and radio things. But the reason I'm bringing this up, because this is where I actually got some of the ideas from things people told me, and I don't just mean family; it could have been coworkers. So my song "Because I Did," I got to interject something funny. The reason I wrote "Because I Did" is because people were asking me all these ridiculous questions during my hard times. So switching gears from letting go, just want to be free. What was the other one? Every moment. I had to write a funny one during that time. So again, that was kind of about 2021. And I'm going, I did what I did. I had to bring some humor into something. As you know, variety is the spice of life. But yes, without these trials, I don't see how I would have made it without God. I don't think I would have written some of the songs I have. I, there's a lot of tears and emotional pain, and I hate to say suffering in a way.
Does someone else's sad song, forged in pain and fire and
Mm.
destruction, have the same effect on you?
The same effect on me. I would say yes. There's been a lot of things I've written. Well, see, I say things because some of them were poetry and some of them I didn't publish. I'm like, they're in my car or in the house or the closet or in a notebook. And then I just don't do anything with it. It just sits there. And then some of them, like every moment, was written from like poetry and hard times, and it's now a song. And a lot of people seem to like it. And the reason why I know, like N1M, you might know of that. I could name some other sources of music, and they send me emails or messages on there. And a lot of people have told me about every moment in the past 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, they mention other songs too, but I'm just saying that one. And I just believe the sadness as let me put it like this. I didn't want it to consume my life. We're not supposed to be having a life where it's all down and depressing and sad. But yet, because I had so many hard things happen. And my parents had a house fire. They lost everything. My piano burned in that fire. Thank God no one died because it was really bad. They had like 10 fire trucks there. And I'm just saying all this so you can get a big picture of hardships and trials and sadness going on.
If you were to write a happy song, what would it be about?
Well, I'm going to use the spiritual concept of freedom because I've written a couple now based on this theme of being free. So I'm going to say being free or set free, something happy where, oh, guys, like, whoa, it's like a huge relief. Like, wow, that's over. And I don't just mean like it was a bad year. I mean, I had some bad years. Okay, as we know, it's a Bible concept that God can turn the bad into good. But I mean, being free would be happy. And as a matter of fact, my boyfriend and people who know me pretty well, they already know I've said things like, I want to be happy. I want to feel free again. And I've said sometimes on Facebook, if I go live video, I might even say that too. And just being set free of things that upset you or people or new job, things like that.
What do you think was the most tragic thing that happened in your life? Your parents losing their house or your divorce?
That was tragic because seeing things burn. I mean, the whole concept of the house is burning. Matter of fact, what happened is actually worse than a fire. It was the next level. It was a gas explosion. So the propane tank company, if I can say all this in one breath, the propane tank company had just left their home. And I won't go into all the details what happened, but my dad was actually on fire and singed, some definitely burned some, but not to the point where he had to go to a burn center. But anyway, and my sister was asleep in the house when this happened, by the way.
Wow.
But she was on the other side of the home. And she's not a teenager. She's a grown adult. But I mean, matter of fact, she and I are only 3 years apart. But I was going to say that's the whole story. My mom and I actually just talked about this very topic about a week ago. And you might, if you want to, I can share with you something I didn't know until last week. And by the way, this house fire happened 5 years ago. So, but basically, my sister not only heard a voice like "be careful," which it was worse than that. What she heard, she saw them in the yard. She has a big window in the house where they used to live. She had a big window in the bedroom, and it did wake her up because imagine being asleep and then like a big, burning sensations going on, hearing things falling in the house. She saw two angels. She might have mentioned that to me, but I don't think she did. My mother told me about it. I said, she saw what? And then I got the chill bumps because anything spiritual like this, really great concept, and it's really exciting. But they warned her, don't go in there. That's my whole point, to tell you she saw angels that said don't go in there because she was not out of the house yet.
I've had a few things happen too, but I know it's
Wow.
God, and whether they're angels or not, I just say praise the Lord. I don't go, oh God, oh no, I know. And you got to
Right.
remember that
Right.
if God doesn't deliver you, still praise God. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
what if one
wonderful.
day he just wants to test you, and something happens to you, you said you would, but we got to remember that God loves us, but he also, like a parent, our father will let us do something so we learn from it. My dad did that quite a lot. I learned a lot from him, and I miss him too. What is the most important lesson you've learned over your career as a singer-songwriter?
Important lesson. I'm going to really say this strong. Be careful what I say. I don't mean on the air, that too, but be careful what I say to people. And it doesn't always mean I'm saying bad things like something mean. I think it means just I'm going to follow through with what I say, but some people I think really didn't believe me. I won't really give too many examples, but two things have happened in Nashville, and that happened like my second year there. So we're talking back to 2019. It's been a few years ago. And somehow I didn't mean to, but they took it the wrong way. And I'm going to make it short. It had to do with me and some people and ordering CDs. I mean, it sounds like something silly, But there you go. And they didn't even work with me on getting my. This is no joke. It took me about 2 years to really find a way to get my CDs printed. I mean, I know people can do them at home if they have their equipment or hire somebody. And I'm going to be real honest, that was one of my struggles. So I don't usually tell many people that, but for 2 or 3 years, and I will say it like this, and I'm going to help another songwriter out, whether they've been writing 4 or 5 years or 20 years. If they don't have the codes embedded in their songs, then some radio stations will not play them. Well, I learned that the hard way probably about 3 years ago. And I had worked in about 4 studios, so I figured somebody knew this. So therefore, it didn't just require like 1 hour to fix this. It required quite a bit of time for at least 4 of my songs, and I have 8 out there. I have 8 now, but anyway, make a long story short, I've had some frustrations with some of the things that have happened to music.
If you showed up in the 80s or 90s, people like Sting or the Police, or if they just started today, they'd have problems. And I'm part of a group of musicians called Band Together. It's run by a woman by the name of Christina, and she promotes a lot of people. Oh, and then our friend Caden as well. He's pretty good as well. So if you want promotion, he'll do it. I kind of do it too. But it's sad because you want to get your music out there. Winning those awards for certain single like "Letting Go," that helps.
Yes, and I'm gonna go ahead and mention, if you don't mind, that which one? The Christmas song? No, it's let me think which song. Oh, it's Because I Did, the one I was talking about being a funny song. So Because I Did is in the, I guess it's abbreviated, the FCPM Awards, the one in the Netherlands for next year, 2024. And well, I wouldn't say just like an award. I wish maybe, but I've been nominated in 4 categories for, one of them being like vocalist of the year, things like that. So I'm excited. That's for next year.
So what's the one lesson you're being a singer songwriter? What has it taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
I'm going to say it's taught me perseverance. I've had people who know me personally, like one of the music managers. He's been sick this year, but he's been pursuing things on his own and persevering. And I've been doing this a couple years now, and it's a lot of work and dedication and time to motivate yourself. It's really sticking with it. I'm going to say perseverance is what I would share.
And was there ever a time that you just wanted to give it all up?
I thought about it some last year and early this year, but I don't think it would have been permanent. It would have been, maybe I'm going to give this up for a year. I mean, piano is something I'm never going to stop doing. It's just part of me. I used to teach piano, so I know, I guess you could say I know I'm good at it. I know what I like to do. I know what my interests are. I don't want to just quit. But as far as what's happened, if I could be real, there's been some real things have happened with the studio, and that's all I can say because we're on the air. I've had some very hurtful things happen. Let's leave it at that. And I wouldn't say it's people who I thought were my friends. It's people, let me say this carefully, God help me. It's people who I thought who would really help me more with some music projects. I think that's okay to say live. And that could be across the years. So I mean, hey, I'll help promote this song. I mean, of course, it wasn't in writing. So let me go and tell new artists, or if you aren't a new artist, to get more things in writing. I know I'm going to be. Anyone who ever says, hey, I'll help promote you, and I don't know if they're a studio producer, I'm going to say, okay, after a while, I'm going to say, we need to have this in writing. Or how do I know you're going to do that? I mean, I've had several like, oh, I'll help promote you, but I hate to tell you, I'm not really seeing it. Maybe they did 2 or 3 years ago, a little bit when the song came out. But that's where I didn't know more about, hey, get it more in writing and contracts and sign, but very careful now.
There are a lot of people out there who would deceive you.
A lot of people are not following through, and I don't really care at this point who hears that, because that could be a whole business concept. My degree's in business. I did a lot of office jobs before the songwriting, so I already had that in my background. Like, a lot of people aren't following through. Hey, I'll do this for you. And now I smile like, okay, thank you. And I'm trying to be polite, like, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And then, as we say in the world, what time will tell. You'll know, give it 2 or 3 years and they really did that, or they were just saying that.
Who are you going to trust but yourself, right? Be your own manager. Do your own thing, right?
Well, I don't always want to say trust, but I will say, who do you know who you can depend on? I'm going to throw this out there. This is a good concept. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I did learn this more in Bible college, and it could be any college, but we had a lot of Bible classes there. So it was Bible college. But I was going to say it real quick since you mentioned that. Dependability is a big word. It's a long word. And someone being dependable to me is like worth $1 million. So I'm like, hey, they're going to be there unless they're sick or their child is sick or their mom, or you know what I mean? They're going to be there. That's what I need. And I don't mind saying that live. I still want that. I want to start a band next year or the year after, or very soon. But I need to have people on the team who are dependable. I don't care if it's the promoter or the agent, drum player. It's everybody.
How do you know God wants you to be a singer-songwriter? What if he showed up tonight and said, Kimberly, I want you to go in this direction or that direction? What would your reaction be?
Oh, well, it's like this with God. I have to be willing to change plans. And because let me go and tell you, I've already done that several times anyway. That's nothing new with me. And I say that because I don't want to tell you how many jobs I used to apply for when I finished, got my degree in business. It was a lot. But I got to go ahead and say this. I have a ministry as well called Set Free. So I don't just write songs and play the piano. I have a lot of interest. And if I could take this a step further, I think God's okay if I shared. I have dreams about what I'll be doing. And the reason I know they're true is because, get back into spiritual and God here. And she brought it up. I have a lot of friends who are into prophetic things and apostles, and, they hear from God. I guess you could say we should be hearing from God, but they really do. And they have told me some things like, God said this. So I personally believe right now, as of right now in November, this is what I will be doing the rest of my life, but also will be doing some ministry, some speaking, and some other things I can't say because it's a secret. I've been working on it about 11 weeks. But I do believe I'm going to stick with this for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I don't go by voices, and I certainly know that whatever the Bible says I can believe, but I'm not going to believe every voice. And whether this podcast is from God or not, I know I gave it to him, and I know that he is my PR, and it's his podcast, so whatever he says goes. At the same time, I want to ask you how you would deal with your mental health, because that's something we have to take care of ourselves. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a very broad question because God is part of my mental health. And I know what you're saying, like you have to exercise. God's not going to say, go exercise, Kimberly, or go to the gym or go walking or go to the beach. That's part of my journey with the anxiety. I'm going to throw all this in here into this big picture of getting better and not, at times, sometimes I'm stressed. I'm like, this breathing. Well, that could be someone who's not even having an anxiety attack. They just might be having a stressful day. I believe, that's a big question because I love that question because that's going to be part of the ministry I'm doing. I've already helped a lot of women, and yes, I have to help myself before I can help them. I've had some ladies tell me that, and I'm sitting here like, I already know that. We're supposed to work on ourselves. And I mean, some of the things I do, I don't mind sharing. Excuse me. Besides walking, of course. But I can't do a lot of walking. Not as, what's the word? I'm not. But walking and swimming. I'm going to go and talk about green tea since you brought it up, and I won't talk about it too long. But green tea helps anxiety and mental illness, and overall, it helps the mental health. I'm trying to say, because
Yep,
that
I have
dark.
green tea every day and matcha green tea as well. I have that.
I was just about to say that we're on the same page here, Chris. This is great. There's something about that dark green that's helping with the anxiety. It also fights cancer. There's a whole lot of I've learned about the last 3-4 years.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm going
definitely.
to add for people who don't like that flavor, like, oh, that's just, or they might say that's weird, or I don't like that tea. I just drink regular green tea. There actually is a difference, and I can say they can add cinnamon. Cinnamon is a natural relaxer. I learned that from someone who owned his own coffee shop, and that's flavor too.
And do they give you free coffee?
Well, when I worked there as a bookkeeper, I got free coffee. That was about 5 years ago.
Well, I think if I had a friend that owned a shop or a mall or a store, I would expect free stuff. Listen, I know you own a Walmart. I want everything here free. You understand? You
I'm
can't.
like,
But
this
you
is
own
your
this
coffee.
place. You know? Actually, I knew the owner of a Bible bookstore, and I didn't ask
Okay.
him for free stuff, but it was excellent to go in there and, hi, can I see the owner, please? Hey, Rob, how's it going? Hey, how's it? But I never said, hey, can I have this 50% off? Can I? Hey, we're friends, right? I never did that. But and I don't know if I had a friend who owned a Walmart. I want to ask him for free stuff, but it would be nice to go to Walmart and just say hi once in a
Well,
while.
you'd probably want a discount though. If you would expect like they're the owner or the manager. It seems like they can have a discount on something for me, maybe once a year.
Well,
Um,
Kim, if it's something I've learned from Dhar Mann episodes, that the goodness you put out in the world, it would return back to you.
you
I've
learned
learned a
what?
lot.
What do you say? Oh,
Yeah, the goodness you put out in the world, um, it'll come back to you. So you want to be respectful and kind and be good to everyone, because you never know, that might be God testing you.
oh, I agree totally. He's gonna see how you're. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go and say yes for sure. And testing how you're treating people, that's a whole nother topic. But
Yeah, so in my cupboard here in my kitchen, I have tons of different types of tea. I love the chai, I love the green tea, I love the green matcha, I have the lemon
okay,
echinacea, I love the turmeric tea. I have all
okay,
sorts of tea, and I love it, and I
that
have a
helps
tea
fight
every day
cancer.
because it helps
Hmm.
cancer, yeah, and also another thing, Kim, is that, am I allowed to
Yes,
call you Kim? Because,
yes, you
I
can.
think you
I'll,
said you're not
that's
allowed to
fine.
call you.
That's
Okay,
fine.
because when I spelled your name with Kimberly with an E, he was all over me.
Hmm.
Okay, I digress.
Yeah,
So, but
that's
yeah,
fine.
and so I have tea every day, and sometimes I
Okay.
do put um, cinnamon in. Actually, if I put no, I actually have a cinnamon flavored tea. That's right.
I
But
put it in my
I
coffee today.
I okay, because I was on keto and I lost like 38 pounds. So I started having what is called bulletproof coffee, which is black coffee with melted butter. You can use MCT oil or olive oil and
Okay.
cinnamon and sometimes turmeric, and it tastes just like cappuccino. Excellent. Love it. And not only that, it helps you lose weight. So, I'm not on these snacks or potato chips anymore, especially when my blood pressure was high. So now it's down below 120 over 80. I love it. It's good to eat right. I got all this poundage gone now. Hope I can pick up better looking chicks. Just kidding. um, uh, so if you wanted to be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Let me think, because I don't want to answer that quickly. Oh, I want to be remembered for my kindness. There we go. And not just for music, of course, that's great too. Actually, kindness and having a heart to show that I care. I don't care if the person is homeless, a millionaire, ghetto. I mean, I actually have friends all across the board in several states, different levels of income. I don't mind saying that. And I used to say to a lot of people, there's no shame in my game. I want people to know I have a heart that I am one who's really caring for you, because see, I know what it's like for people to not care. And I mean people who know me for 20 years, not just met me for a year. I want them to know that I care about them. They're welcome to call, email, text. Currently, I know people in shelters in 2 states. One's in Tennessee, and these are people I know. And we text and occasionally have phone calls. And I don't think that's where they're going to be forever, because some of these people aren't even supposed to be there. Okay, but then we have another topic. But
How can you help them?
well, besides pray for them, I can do a little bit with money. It's not a lot, but I really, be honest with you, besides just I can be the real answer here. I want to be their friend. I'd like to at least be able to give some advice. If they don't like it, that's fine. It's usually going to come from God, not just, hey, I think you should do this. One of them respects me. I don't want to say much it could give away, because some people actually know. Yeah, I got to be careful, because some people know a lot of people that I know. But helping them know that not only do I care and I'm praying for them, that if they would take some advice I could give them, I know they could get better. And it's not because it's all about me. It's about God and some things I've already been through. I could help walk them through a few financial things. And maybe spiritual, maybe emotional.
Are you the type of person to walk into like a fast food restaurant and spend $150 on hamburgers and give them out to the homeless?
That's not something I could do at this time, but there's other things I've done as in the ministry I've done, which I don't mind sharing. I'll have baggies ready as much as possible in my car, because that's where I'm traveling. I'll have stuff ready to go, and sometimes my business card's in there. And I'm sure some people are like, well, why would they need your business card? I'm like, well, if they do want to call, here's my email, or here's my phone number and my email. Some of them have my Facebook page. Have I heard from any of them? Maybe one or two ever. But I think it's just a personal touch, like, hey, I'm a real person. I really care, and someone loves you. Some of them will get bottled water, chips. Excuse me. It just depends on what I have.
How do you
I've
feel
been
about
doing this 2 years.
Yeah? How do you feel about singing to those people?
I think, well, that's what I need. I'm going to say at this point to myself, that's what I need to be doing. I'm going to get my charger. So just so you know, I got to go find it. It's right beside me.
Yeah.
They, a lot of people are hurting and they don't want to actually admit it or say something's wrong. But if they can trust you to actually let you hear what they're going through, and you're not judging them, then they know they can get some help. And the people who know me, and I mean Christians, homeless, drug addicts, I know all kinds of people. It's not bragging. I'm just being honest. I know a guy in prison right now. He shouldn't be there, but it's not because of his wife. It's because of himself. I won't go there right now. Some people know to do right and they're not doing it. Or some people didn't know things and they're in these situations. So, see if I can. Okay, so now if we wrap this up, because now it wants to blink. I don't want it to die out on me,
No, I
because
understand.
these questions are good. I believe it's going to help someone.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. And I hear a lot of stories too. And just put yourself in their shoes. So you can't really judge them, because what if you find yourself in their shoes one day? I mean, I know you like to help people, but you got to think of yourself as well, because you'll be in no match and you'll be no
Oh, I
way
have
of.
places I go to escape, but I can't say where, because it's a secret. And I don't mean it's always at a beach or the mountains. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. No one can really find me except God, or well, of course, God can find you anywhere. Oh, one of them you'd have to be in an airplane to get on to go. So the places I go, I'm getting full. How do I say this? I'm getting full mental, emotional, spiritual health. Time out. There we go. Time out.
How do you feel about your life now?
I'm an overcomer. Everything I've been through is for a reason. I mean, Job 23:10 In the Bible, he says he's coming forth as gold. So all the negative things, issues, people, past drama. I mean, I'm going to say all that mess has got to go in Jesus' name. Some of it's tried to attach itself to me. That's a whole nother spiritual concept, but I'm an overcomer what I came out of. Don't get me starting to preach now.
So who has been the most, I know you're probably going to say God. I meant physically. Who has been the most influence in your life?
Now, you mean like support, like cheerleaders?
Yep. Who has made the most who has made the most influence in your life? Like who has encouraged you the most?
Well, I could give a few names, but right now, because of what has specifically happened in the last couple years, his name is Edward Steele. He knows 100% he's been there for me. And he has been there for me more than some family because of what's happened. So I'm going to leave it at that. He totally supports his music career. He'll try to, as much as he can, share the live videos, ask people. He actually got somebody in Nashville, God bless him, to buy about 8 CDs from me last summer, about 2 summers ago. And I was just shopping in the store, minding my business. I'm like, they're what? He's like, get all your CDs. He wants to see them all. I thought he was joking. So I went to the car and got like 12 CDs. And then some man bought like 7 of them. That was like the second time that's happened like that ever in 7 years. I was like, okay, cool. You can do some sales for me. And he's also been there for me emotionally. It's a lot of things.
Wow, that's inspirational.
Thank God.
Is it your desire to be successful or not? Like it's not, you're not trying to seek for success. What are you seeking?
Well, I feel like on this podcast has been a lot of spiritual talk, and that's even more important to me than the music, because I get most of my writings. Well, I get all my stuff from God, but in my heart, Joshua 1:8 is a verse that I know very well. It's talking about being successful. I don't think it always means money. I think it means a lot of
You mean
things.
about the prosperness? Yeah, there's a lot of prosperity.
Exactly.
Think it has to do with money. It's not.
No, but I think it also definitely has to do with doing what you enjoy in life and being happy. Because how many people hate their job? Most people hate their job. You know why? Because I met some people, they tell me that. And I'm sitting here like, why can't they just go to college or do a career change? If I give my real story, the real story, how I overcame some stuff, we'd be here till like 3 a.m. And it wasn't because I had a lot of money or people supporting me. It's because of, I think I just knew I could do it. My grandfather was a colonel in the Air Force, and he wasn't just a colonel, he was a pilot. And he was a fighter pilot. And I think somehow God helped me. That's part of my He lived to be 91. I was just speaking of him this morning to someone. He died about 7 years ago. But he was one of my, now see, he actually passed away right before I was writing all these songs. I was having like a career change. So
Wow, yeah. Like it's not success you should search for. It's about a relationship with God. Because to tell you the truth, you had all the money in the world, you had all the concerts in the world. You can't take it with you because when you die, like you don't see a hearse pulling a U-Haul, do you? You can't take it with you,
exactly. That sounds like
right?
some preachers, what they say. I agree. It's going to be the memories. A lot of people remember, I hate to say it, but people remember how you treat them. Oh, that's not always a good thing, but excuse me. They remember, I don't know why, but that's a whole other concept, because there's power in our words. We can speak life and death. You probably believe that Proverbs.
So what rules have you given your boyfriend on how to treat you so that you don't repeat your past mistake in relationship?
I have boundaries in place. He pretty much knows what they are, because I remind him every now and then. I'm like, that's more personal though to share it on an interview, but I know what you mean. It could help somebody. I mean, he knows like there's certain ways not to talk to me. And I think it's really a guy thing or a man thing. It's not always like, oh, they're married, divorced, or they're single. I really just think it's a man thing. because he can have a strong personality. And I may seem like I'm really strong, but I'm also really like, don't say that to me. You just really hurt my feelings. He's like, I didn't, like a few weeks ago, he said, you look terrible on one of my text messages. I didn't talk to him to the next day. I went to bed early. I said, you really, really upset me and peeved me off. And anyway, I know he's going to get upset if I share this, but he's like, I did not mean that. I said, well, you said I looked terrible and I had been in the doctor that day. You know, just funny stuff like this. But yeah, he'll get me for this later. He's going to be like, why did you say that? But some things people say, they don't mean it like that. And some things I say, I don't mean. Some things I do mean to say. It depends on what it is. And my children, I have children, by the way, I have to be very careful with them. I'm going because they're very fragile.
And they learn from mama too.
I've taken them on a lot of trips. They are very smart about packing and going places and meeting people and things to do and not to do. And not being too friendly, especially in this world. But I was going to say both children love to do music, which I think I did mention that a while ago. We talked about drum lessons. So if this does go off, it was great meeting you. This thing is starting to blink. I thought there was an outlet here. So I'm like,
no problem. It's really a pleasure talking to you, Kim. Everyone, music, links, everything will be linked down below in the description. We really appreciate you taking this time to speak to us, Kimberly. Really happy about that. And hopefully we can talk again. And if you need me, just contact me. I'm there. I want to make sure that I'm another one of those that are there for people. But before we say goodbye, you have enough time just to give us one word of advice for the up-and-comers out there.
I say always believe in yourself, because if you don't, who else is?